The long wait and frankly the long nightmare will soon be over, at least for the Trump page of American history. If the news is true that Jared Kushner is trying to talk him into conceding, and if successful, we won't have to worry about what he might do to disrupt and interfere with the tally, and a relatively smooth transition may take place. Biden won with the largest number of votes than ever before, 74 million plus. Almost looks like democracy worked, except for all the voter suppression from both sides. But there's a side to this that few are recognizing. Who voted for Biden and why? Who voted for Trump and why? Biden supporters came in two groups. Vote blue no matter who. This was anti-Trump as it wasn't for any particular candidate. It could have been for any who ran in the primaries except for Sanders. The Democratic Party leadership would have been very lukewarm in its support for him, even though the voting public would have been ecstatic and a landslide all but guaranteed. As to this group of voters, they would have been the majority. A minority group of the overall voters would have been people who actually thought that Biden had what it took to take on Trump and supported his Republican-light agenda. This may have been a minority of voters, but he was the preferred candidate for the party elite, the party establishment, and those people who control the process. We see how the liberal media rallied around him, not so much as to praise his past accomplishments and propagandize over his leadership skills, but instead their job was to tear down Trump, a much easier and likely for them an enjoyable task. There's a lot to fear from the final vote. A 4 million vote spread is impressive if the numbers were like any normal election year. And people will start mimicking Trump in how Biden's numbers and win was in Trumpian proportions, like his imaginary largest inauguration audience ever attended. But let's be mindful of how Trump fared in this election. Even when hundreds of thousands are now dying from the virus that he pretty much unleashed on America, people by the thousands came out to his rallies and to the polls to support and vote for him. His 70 million voters voted for him, not as much against Biden. The Trump cult had its inauguration on Election Day. Everything before then was the organizing aspect of it and its preparation for what is to come. Even if Trump goes away, and hopefully to Rikers, New York City jail, he has unleashed on America what Sinclair Lewis allegedly said: when fascism comes to America, it will be wrapped in the flag and carrying a cross. A far more savvy, polished, intelligent, politically experienced individual will take the baton and run with it, and he or she will have an army behind him or her. It won't be 70 million to start, as many will return to the usual American complacency and side with Republican-like Biden, or see a new face in Congress or the media to be the new party leader. It won't be the idiotic and bombastic Senator Iceland from the Manchurian Candidate or the real Senator Cotton of Arkansas, but someone far superior in intellect and cunning, like the Queen of Diamonds.